Hi everyone, my name's Ethan. I'm a current final year medical student at Monash, and I'm going to share with you how I scored in the top 1% of the UCAT when I sat it in 2020. Now, unfortunately or fortunately for those listening, I think the UCAT is probably the hardest test I've ever taken. It was so demanding in terms of time and pressure that there was so much on the line and just made it really challenging. So for those of you who are sitting the UCAT and who have done a bit of preparation, it is hard. Don't worry if you've felt overwhelmed by things, because that's what these videos are there to help you for. And honestly, going through this will make you better at dealing with stress and help you with your exam strategy as well. And so here are some general points on how to do well on the exam and what I did to score in the top 1%. So the first thing is volume of practice. Unfortunately, to get into med, it's not a specific cutoff score that you need. You have to be in the top 5 to 10% of people who sit the test. And so you're essentially competing against other people. And to get in the top 5 to 10%, most people have to work harder than 90 to 95% of people. There are obviously cases where people can cram for a month and get super high scores, but that's not most of us, and it certainly wasn't myself. So I would probably practice for 2 to 3 hours a day most weekdays, and on the weekend try and do 3 to 4 hours. Holidays as well, I was trying to do as much UCAT as I could. Yes, that probably sounds overkill, but as I said before, if you want to be in the top 1%, you have to work harder than most people. And the standards for the target score that you need to get into med are lifting year upon year. And so I think to optimize your chances, put in as much work as you can. I think given your time is a competition between UCAT and ATAR stuff, there is a big opportunity for people who will really seize this opportunity and just go pounding through lots of UCAT work, because you'll have so many reps in place by the time you sit the test that the people who only practice for 3 or 4 weeks won't be able to compete with you. The second thing I did was try and have good quality practice. And I used Medify. Some people use MedEntry. Again, they're both fairly good resources, but they're actually quite similar to the actual test in terms of difficulty, in terms of the nature of the question types. And I found their system where they set up time sets to was so much better than all the free resources online. And so I highly recommend that to anyone who's sitting the UCAT, because Medify for me was a game changer. Another thing was to do lots of my practice timed. And I think that's such an important part of the UCAT, is the sense that it's a very time pressured test. It's very hard to finish. So you need to practice it timed to learn the right strategies, learn how to deal with the time pressure, and hopefully get on top of the timing. Then I'd say to develop your UCAT skills. And I got group tutoring initially, which then moved into private tutoring. But it was really helpful just to have a mentor to discuss my experiences with, what were my scores, and then someone who's already sat the test and done really well to just pick their brain and say, tell me everything you know about the UCAT, and then I can add that existing knowledge to what I already know. So look, the free resources are good, they're getting better, and I'm hoping to add a whole new group of free resources online, but nothing will compare to just get someone who's done really well on the test in the past to just tell you everything they know and try and incorporate that into the practice that you do. I was also really fortunate to have a network of friends who were sitting the UCAT, and honestly, it's probably, I couldn't have done it without them. To have people to gauge where you're at, how much they're practicing, what their scores are looking like, I probably wouldn't have been motivated or had the even knowledge to realize that you had to put so much time into this thing, unless it was for those people I was sitting it with. And so I think if you've got friends doing the UCAT, it's always good to sort of form a study group or have conversations with them around that too. And so for those of you who are sitting the UCAT this year, it's a very hard test, but don't let that dishearten you, because this is one of the biggest opportunities that people have to jump ahead of so many people and get into med. Because not many people are willing to commit consistent time to the test. And if you put in the time, you will gradually, through reps and through learning, become better than other people. There's quite a low barrier to quality resources. They're getting reasonably accessible and there's good quality free resources, but I'd highly encourage you to try and get one of the paid platforms like Medify or MedEntry or others if you are aware of them. And I think the study techniques are getting better and better. So while the UCAT is getting more competitive, if you're a hardworking student and you're willing to go for it, I think there's a real opportunity here in terms of trying to get you to the score that will set you up and get you an interview and get you into med. So what should you do next? Well, in the description, I'll attach a link which will give you access to some free resources. So it'll include my 1.5% rule, how to set up a UCAT study session, and some other updates which I'll send out. Additionally, if you'd like tutoring, whether that is a group tutoring or workshops or one-on-one tutoring, there's also room to fill out that form. A third thing you can do is, if you found this video beneficial, I'll be posting weekly videos covering some strategies to the UCAT and sitting some questions live so you can see how I attempt to manage things. Next week's video will be me doing a set of quantitative without using the calculator at all. And so if you found what I've covered today beneficial or you want to keep up to date, please, I'd encourage you to support this channel by subscribing and sharing with a friend. It means a lot to me and to the channel, and the more people support it, the better the videos will get. And please drop me your feedbacks in the comments below. So to summarize, the UCAT is hard, it is challenging, but it is also an opportunity. To be better than 90 to 95% of people who sit the test is a challenge that I lay out for you because it's largely separate to the ATAR and there is a sacrifice. But if you play your cards right, you can advance above people at such an exponential rate that someone who only practices for 1 month, even if they're super smart, even if they've got reasonably good strategies and they use the free resources, they won't be able to catch you if you do consistent practice over a long period of duration, have high quality practice sessions and get high quality teaching. Please reach out if you have any questions, and I look forward to seeing you all next week where I'll cover quantitative without using the calculator at all. Thanks very much, guys.